inside the Great Outdoors. The boy, it's going to be hot, people. We keep talking about it, but just be careful because there's so many things that could hurt you bad. So this was kind of cool.
Well, it's sort of like hypothermia because you don't realize it's happening to you.
And when I went to the doctor,
I sort of went through it yesterday because I was out on the boat.
Yeah.
But we were out in the morning. We got done around noon.
Yeah.
And it wasn't hot. There was a nice breeze. It was.
Well, you have a
the
breeze,
water
so you don't
temperature
notice
is
it.
68 degrees,
Yeah.
and it was cloudy. Even sprinkled rain a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's when it gets you. It sneaks up on you. And
Right.
driving home when it got really hot, when you get back to the shore and it's hot,
but that's a problem.
and it
Then
hits
it's
you.
too late.
Right. And then it's like, I'm driving home and I'm like, man, I sort of got a headache. And I'm drinking Gatorades, I'm drinking water, and
Well, at least
it
you were
was like
drinking.
I was trying to get caught up again, and I just went home and sat in my chair and was sitting there watching TV. Next thing I woke up, it was like 8:30.
Oh, gee. Well,
You may not have been drinking enough on the boat.
That's what I think,
Yeah.
definitely.
That's
And I
you're
drank a
fishing
whole.
and you're not.
Yeah,
drinking.
I drank my
that's-
whole jug of water on the
Right,
boat.
right.
I'm
It
out there on
probably
the
wasn't
tractor,
enough.
but I figure, well, I'm not sweating and I'm not thirsty, so I'm okay. So I don't
Well,
think
if you're
about
not
it.
sweating, that's not good.
No. And so when I went to the doctor, man, everything else was fine. Everything was great. But she said, stick out your tongue. And she says, you're dehydrated. I said, what are you talking about? I can see your tongue. It's dry.
Yep.
You're not. So I
always look at my
Stick out your
fingers.
tongue, Joe.
When my fingertips get wrinkled.
Yeah.
Mine are a little wrinkled now.
Yeah.
I got water in the
Yeah.
truck though for the drive home.
But I don't think about it. Okay, because she hammered and hammered and hammered
You've
it.
been dehydrated here before.
Yes.
Yep.
And
2-3 weeks ago.
We've given you
Yes.
stuff. I gave you
Yes.
energy drinks.
Thank you. So what I did, I found a bigger thermos. When I go on the tractor, I just go. I don't think about it. So now I'm taking water with me when I go, and so I sip on it. Because then I asked her, does it matter if you sip or drink a lot at once? She says, no, it don't matter as long as you're drinking water. But she also said you should be drinking water with coffee. That if you're drinking coffee, it's really not doing nothing.
The caffeine dehydrates you.
Yep.
So you should have water along with it, which
Right.
I'll have to. But I am, and it's
But we
mainly
told you that before.
right. It's mainly because of the kidney stone that she was, because I don't want to go through that again. But I don't realize it. But now, what's going on? I'm mentally concentrating on drinking. The problem is, I get up 7-8 times through the night, but I guess it's either that or get
That's
kidney.
better than not getting up.
Well, yeah, that's true. So I am physically or mentally concentrating on drinking more.
Good.
And yes, it's
And
but
please don't, it may taste good. It really does. And I know it does. But, if you're going to have a nice drink out on the veranda, don't overdo it with the alcohol. A nice cold beer when it's hot tastes really good, especially after you mow the lawn.
yeah.
That's like the American dream right there. Just
Yeah,
sitting
see,
on your
luckily-
porch and having a nice cold beer
Yeah.
after you mow the lawn. But don't let that turn into a bunch of beers because that'll end up dehydrating you too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Alcohol
really does you.
it
See,
draws
luckily
the
I
moisture
don't
out.
drink anything, so I don't.
Lenny's got a giant cup of
Don't
something.
have to
he
worry
sure
about
is.
it,
He
but-
sure is smiling this morning.
But a good
I
cold.
think he's got a cup of vodka there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I remember when I did
Vodka
get the heat,
martini.
the heat
Shaken,
stroke,
not stirred.
yeah, working on the railroad up at Cedar, NASA. That was an experience to
I
walk.
bet that was hot.
Oh my God! Well, here's why: we're burning. We had that big, humongous machine that drives down the railroad tracks, and it burns on either side. And we had to stay. And if it would get carried away, and it did get carried away. And they were worried because it was going through the ammunition dumps that are in NASA up at Sandusky.
Sandusky.
And so, but I remember we were working on it, fighting a fire and stuff. And I remember walking towards the machine, and everything got fuzzy and got, wavy and
Mhm.
stuff. And
I'll tell
they
that.
had water there, but it was warm. And drinking warm water is
That's not. That's not the same.
no. And
The,
they say how are you going to drink that warm water? It is terrible.
I did that at
Now,
the.
this is one place where a little bit of salt is good for you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
With this,
Because they had
dehydration.
those tablets.
Yeah,
or
they used to have salt tablets.
salt
for it.
tablets. I would take that.
But even at this time of the year when you're drinking a lot of water, it's not bad to take a little salt because this is going to retain some fluid for you because
Mhm.
you're losing a lot of salt because
Yeah.
you're drinking a lot and you're urinating a lot.
Okay.
So a little bit of extra salt's
Yeah.
not going to hurt you.
Just like
And-
just like the salt on the rim of a margarita. That's
Plenty.
plenty. That's what Tim Wilcox posted that
Oh.
margaritas and fish tacos taste pretty good in the heat, which is true.
Oh, so this random act of kindness, okay?
Mhm.
So I went to get the blood test because I had to go see the doctor. And so I'm in there waiting, and a girl came in, and I heard talking to the receptionist, and she says, "Oh, well, it was her birthday." And she says, "Oh, happy birthday." And I thought, "Oh, well, I'll wish the girl, maybe when she's coming or going, I'd see her, I'd wish her." But it never worked out. So when I was leaving, got the blood test, and the nurse says, "Boy, you got good veins. They can find it like lickety split and stuff." So I'm leaving, and the girl was leaving, and I said, "No, she was at the reception." And I said, "Well, happy birthday." And she turned around and looked at me, and she was so happy. She was a younger girl, and she says, to her, a birthday is a big, big thing. And somebody, a stranger, wishing her happy birthday, she says she was so happy. So then I got in my car and I was leaving, and she was walking, and she says, "Thanks again, you really made my day." So a simple little thing, somebody you don't know, and making, to her it was a compliment of wishing her birthday. What's the big deal? It made such an impact on her, and it makes you feel good that, oh, I made that person happy. She said, "You made my whole day. My whole day will be great now because of you." And I'm thinking, such a little thing. So little things like that, which I did learn from my mother. She would always compliment in the store the reception or the person to check you out and stuff. So think about that. It doesn't take much. I closed the door for some lady was getting into her car, an older lady, and she was going to have to reach, and that was right next door, and I'll get it for you. So
He's looking for a girlfriend. That's what he's doing.
Well, I think they're
No.
looking for him too.
Yeah.
No,
This old guy's probably got some
No,
money.
he's
got
loaded.
1 foot in a grave
Yeah,
and
he's
in
another
the
on a
doctor's
office.
banana
Yeah.
peel.
He's in
He's a
he's
good
in this
catch,
doctor's
you know?
office all the
These
time.
are just to make people
And he's
smile
so
and
happy.
to brighten your
And he's
day.
nice to me. Man, I could take him for everything he's got.
Exactly. Exactly.
He's got a fortune in tractors alone.
right.
You know.
He's got
Tractors and land.
That's right.
Geez, I thought about that. Oh, gee. But anyway, think about that. If you can make somebody else
you're-
smile.
you're
Wonder
a
if she
catch,
can
man.
cook. Maybe she won't burn stuff for
You're a
him.
catch. Yeah, ask her if she can cook. You know how to work an Instant Pot?
I thought about it. I thought about somebody.
Yeah, my wife
How about a slow
last night
cooker?
when I woke up from passing out in my recliner yesterday, my wife, she fried up a couple of pork chops and made some
See how lucky you
asparagus
are?
in the Instapot for me.
Ooh,
I am
that's
the luckiest guy.
Jeez.
I'm telling you, she takes such good care of me. You have no idea.
Sure, that's good. I'm
Yeah.
glad you appreciate her.
Oh, I love her so much.
Good. Here,
She's
low.
a-
We got. Good morning, Mike.
Uh-oh. Good morning. There you are. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Straight from the
Good.
St. Peter's Bait and Tackle on the peninsula of
Oh,
Sandusky
yeah,
Bay.
right? Yeah, I'd have called earlier, but I wasn't on the conference call with the Pentagon. But, no, just kidding. I was at work. I got so many things here. I said, sorry, buddy. Real quick. Doc, you talked about the dogs. You talked about the dogs eating too much. When we got our little dog, he just inhaled food like from the pup. So we tried the puzzle bowl. You ever seen those?
Yeah.
Where they kind of and like I don't know 3 or 4 months of that, and now we can leave the dog food out. And he just goes at it all. by himself.
Yeah.
It's amazing how that works. And trying to think there was something else I wanted to tell you. Oh, well. Hope you guys are doing good. I'm busy as heck here at work and, trying to beat the heat, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, stay cool, man. Drink lots of water.
Right.
Yeah, frozen margaritas, a little cold
The
around
thing
it.
is, like,
I
I
like
look
that idea.
outside, and it's windy, so you'll have a breeze and you won't feel it so bad.
It's
But-
worse
Right.
when it's windy, though.
Yes.
It dehydrates you more.
Exactly, blows it off.
Yep.
I'm glad to see this wind because I need it to help dry out my cornfield so I can get in there and cultivate it. But yeah, it's not what it seems like going out
Right.
out there.
And-
So be careful.
Without it, it's all these bugs we had, man. Go out there, go sit on the lake without wind, man. Woohoo!
Oh,
Yeah, you'll be coated with them.
Oh,
You'll
man.
appreciate that wind.
yes, yes.
But,
Man, we were lucky yesterday. We had that breeze.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, it was
I've
nice.
been out there when there wasn't, and
Have
Oh,
the
so
green
have I.
flies come out yet?
Yes,
Oh.
Yeah.
the little black flies are running. They're all over the deck of the boat, and
Oh,
Uh,
The green
I-
flies are the worst. They crawl
yeah,
up
they
one
get away,
nostril
they fly
and
in
then
your
they,
ears, and they
then
get
they
in,
crawl down the other side.
oh
of you.
jeez, I never had that.
and it tickles.
Yeah.
but I was
I'm
lucky
gonna
that I've
get-
been working. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
go
man.
ahead,
We're
go
gonna
ahead.
get.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna.
I've been working way too much, and I got to sneak out the other night and go fishing. I was just going to go out for a little bit, try for a little walleye, and my mom called. She's 89 years old, so I'm like, okay, you got to go, right? You got mom calls, you got to take.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
we stayed in where it was shallow and not windy, not out where the walleye were. But we trolled around and we got a couple, and that was fun.
Good.
But I was amazed at the amount of cottonwood and the
Yes.
spiny
Oh
water
yeah.
Oh,
fleas,
yeah.
the spiny water fleas that were on the line. I mean, the cottonwood is crazy. That's probably the worst I've seen it since I had a pool. But anyway, so I just tell you that. But I'll get out of here because I'm
Okay.
busy, and I know you're up against this
Yeah,
segment
up
here.
against the
So
break, but I appreciate you being considerate. So
Yeah,
thank
thanks
No
for
you.
problem.
calling.
Yeah.
you guys
good.
have a great day.
You too, Mike.
You too, man. Don't
Hey,
work too
Carl, I'll
hard.
call you, or I'll text you here in a little bit about Tuesday.
Okay, man.
Go.
See ya.
Thanks.
All right, bud.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, and then that we got to take a break because we got a fishing report on the other side.
You know, it's hard to keep those spiny water fleas on a hook. Did you ever find that?
No, there's a lot of them. They just stick on by
Like
themselves.
a ball of them.
Oh, gee. We'll be back.
If you troll for walleye, steelhead, or even salmon, you need to check out Castaway's Magnetic Divers. The release is magnetic, so if it trips accidentally, no need to retrieve it. Simply give the line slack, it sinks and resets itself automatically. When fishing is slow, trip the diver when trolling. It will come up through the water column and very often trigger a strike because you are now covering different depths. It can be set to go off to the right, left, or straight behind the boat. It comes in 3 sizes and different colors. Why not try one today? You can order them online at castaway.com. That's castaway.com with a K. You will not only improve your fishing success, but will make trolling fun again because of no more retrieving after a false release. That's Castaway's Magnetic Diver at www.castaway.com with a K.
Thanks for listening to the Inside the Great Outdoors podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or stories you'd like to share, shoot us an email at jcoulis@castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K. We'll share your comments with our audience on the following week's show. Thanks again for listening to Inside the Great Outdoors.
Welcome back. The three stooges here, laughing off the air. So tell us about the report of what our great fishing
Great fishing.
in Ohio.
I'll tell you, it's been tough. The rain,
Oh
you
my!
know, with all the rain we've had, some places have got it a lot worse. I know last week it seemed like up here along the lake-bound counties got it a lot more than
Yeah.
down where I'm at in Summit County. We got a fair amount, but not like inches worth. I think they've had like 4 inches out in Lorain County.
Yeah, we had 4 inches.
Yeah, that's a lot of water, but we're getting it in the rivers. I told you about the rescue going on. I don't know if it's a rescue anymore or recovery, but there's always a little glimmer of hope. But really pulling for the family and all the first responders down there doing the hard work, and you just hate to see it. But anyway, fishing report. The fishing actually has been in transition, and we're starting to come out of it a little bit. The red ears and the bluegills that were spawning during the last weekend's full moon are starting to. The females are off the beds, but the males are still there, and they're defending, so they're catchable. If you find a area where the bluegills and panfish are bedding, you'll catch fish, and there's some nice ones. I know. Rick from Cascray put a video together about, he had a big area of red ear beds and was pulling some nice big red ears off of them. But you got to be careful here, too, because you don't want to take all of them.
Right.
You want to practice selective harvest. And
you see some of these pictures of these people with all these fish, you wonder.
With like 100 bluegills in it.
I'm hoping
that's not good.
No, you're utilizing them, and I wonder. I think.
And actually, I've done a little research on this too with selective harvest.
Yeah.
The fish you want to take are the bigger females, because the genes for the bigger fish are passed down through the males.
Okay.
And keep the
really?
males in the system rather than the females are the ones you want to keep. So
that's interesting.
But I always try and wait till after the spawn or even before the spawn. Let them do their business and lay their eggs to give the.
Is that same with bass or just?
Yes, I do the same thing with bass. That's why they have the closed season in Lake Erie for the smallmouth, is to let them spawn.
Yeah.
And
but it's better to take the big females.
Yep.
Oh, that's very interesting.
The big males are the ones that hold the
genes,
the dominant gene for size and stuff like that. So,
I
read that somewhere. If somebody wants to dispute me, that's fine.
Yeah.
And
I know
a fisheries biologist out there may be listening and thinking, "What is he talking about?" It's okay. Well, I read it somewhere.
It's just like the pictures you see.
Might have been an In Fisherman article or
you
something.
You can't believe pictures now because they could make anything. So it's really, really tough to know what's.
Except my pictures.
Well, they're all dings. So
my
it don't
pictures
matter.
they're all the same size.
Right.
They're all 3 inches long.
4 to 5. It was a big one. Well, his hands are so big.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So it's.
My big sausage fingers and bare paw hands. That I hold a. If I held an 8-pound walleye, it would look like a 2-pounder next to Joe's 2-pounder that he's holding. So
no, but I don't
that's
have to
how
hold
Joe
the
gets
little
away
ones.
with it.
I only hold the 8-pounders because that's what I catch
on my rod. Anyway,
who cares? At least I caught it.
At least you got there first, right?
Got to be quick.
Stay in the chair. You got a bad back. I'll reel it in. Here, you can reel in this one. I think it's a sheephead. I know how he works. I know exactly how he works.
You're goofy.
And I know all the footage from his old TV shows that he
right.
edited out.
Yeah, that's the proof. No, the proof is the shows on all the big fish I caught.
Okay. But no, it's a good time to get out. Bluegills are biting. A lot of guys are using poppers and the floating foam ants, like the Betts foam ant or foam spider, and casting them underneath overhanging trees. And it's so much fun, the topwater action on these things. And you can put them behind a float. Just put it 3 or 4 feet behind a small float and cast it under those trees, and they'll hit those floating ants and floating spiders. And it's so much fun, the topwater bites on those bluegills, especially with light, if you're using ultralight tackle.
But it's probably going to be morning and evening.
Yep. That's the best times.
Yeah.
So you can still get them during the day, but it's a little harder. Usually when it gets hot like this, the fish turn sluggish. They're a little bit less active during the day. But in the evenings... What about
keeping the fish when it's warm like this?
When it's warm like this, with any fish, I would put them on ice immediately. That goes for the walleye and everything else.
Does it help to put them on a stringer?
No.
Okay.
If you keep them in the water gets hot. The fish are going to get hot.
Okay.
Keep them in a cooler on ice.
Okay.
Yesterday, went out with Captain Bob and Captain Carol with Fish and Fool Charters, and did some fun fishing. And our buddy Mark was there, and we did the old school casting for walleyes, which is so much fun because you have to figure it out. I always talk about figuring it out. In casting for walleyes, you have to figure out the count, depending on how deep the water is, where the fish are in the water column.
Right.
And yesterday, the fish were holding at the bottom.
Oh.
So we had to let the weights go all the way to the bottom.
Wow.
And then sort of drag them a little bit and reel them up slow.
Oh.
And because we looked in the water and you could see the casings from all the mayfly larvae floating on the surface.
Okay.
And so the fish are chasing mayfly larvae as they're coming up out of the mud. That's what they're down there for.
Okay.
Were you using mayfly rigs?
Yes, we were using the gold casting rig, just with about a 18-inch 2-foot leader with a hook, six beads, the blade, and then a couple of 3 beads on top. And we were using gold beads and red beads, and we had a couple chartreuse beads in there too. But they were all catching fish, and it was fun to figure out because you could feel it on the bottom, and then as soon as you'd lift it off the bottom, you'd feel weight, and it wasn't a hard hit. It was like a little tick.
Yeah.
But then the rod would get loaded, get heavy, and you'd feel the weight, and then set the hook, and he'd be there. And they're just eating those things coming up out of the mud, and that's what those casting rigs with the single blade.
Yeah.
That's what they were. That's what they mimic is a mayfly, and same thing with Erie dearies and everything else. If you could use a gold nugget, you could use an Erie dearie and get down there, but it'd have to be pretty heavy. We were in like 42 feet of water. We were pretty deep.
That's tough. And, that's tough fishing.
Yeah, it was.
Tough.
But figuring it out, when you figure it out, and then it's like, you dial it in and you repeat it over, and you're successful.
But
that's
it is
really
a hard
cool.
way to fish.
Yep,
it's a fun way to fish.
It's fun though.
Oh yeah.
It's very fun. It takes a lot of casting and a lot of
reeling. A lot of waiting for it to fall down to get down there.
And then you got to figure out what's the bottom and what's a fish.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of that's where
Luckily,
all the fun
there's
is
not
for
a lot
me.
of snags out there.
No.
So
we're fishing like huge mud flats that are.
So it don't matter. That's good.
And I did see Tim Wilcox posted they were doing the same thing off of Cleveland. They were casting, and they did some trolling too, but they did some casting, and they filled up a box with nice walleyes.
That's pretty amazing when you think how many fish got to be out there, all the way from the western end of Lake Erie to
with the far west end of Lake Erie around Toledo up towards Luna Pier up into Michigan, huge mayfly hatch going on. So the fishing is poor way out west. But the further you get to the east, just east of the islands, Sandusky, right off Sandusky, it's really good. That's where Michael Bray went. He was in shallower than we were, but we were, we came from Marblehead and went all the way out in front of Cedar Point. So
so you went east?
Yes, we went east.
Oh.
And but that whole area is hot, all the way going east. Off of Huron, it's good. Off of Cranberry Creek, it's good. Vermilion, Sheffield, Lorraine. It's the same thing going all the way east to they're starting to get the fish out in Geneva now too. So the summertime pattern for Lake Erie walleye is on pretty much lake wide.
Good.
So the central basin is really hot
because a lot of people come from all over.
Yep.
Yeah.
To
They're
take
doing
advantage.
good off of Cleveland here.
Really
off
good.
Of Rocky River.
Yep. In front of Rocky River, in front of Edgewater.
40 to 50 feet of water. Trolling spoons anywhere from say 40 to 20 feet. They're in that water column right there. So
and I
any
did
kind
see
of spoon works.
I did see somebody put a tip on there. They were catching a lot of fish up high, where you can't even see the fish on your fish finder.
Right.
Yeah, I believe.
So they're running shallow baits. They're running the shallow diving crankbaits. They're trolling with those. They're trolling with smaller baits like the small shad wraps or Hottentots too. They're using Hottentots again.
I believe that.
And they're catching fish on them. They got that nice wobble.
Yeah.
It's a great bait. If you could find the old ones with the metal lips, those are the ones to use.
Yeah.
And
Hottentots,
really
Wiggleworts are good.
Wiggleworts are good. And that bright orange top with the sort of yellow bottom, and purple has been working really good.
Right.
What about muskie in this heat?
Muskies, they'll still bite. But again, it's the morning. You want to get there at the break of dawn. My son Nick and his cousin Dominic have been going. They've been catching a lot of pike in the Cuyahoga and a lot of pike in the Tusk. They went the other day in the upper Cuyahoga up by Manaway, up that way, above Lake Rockwell. And I think they caught 5 or 6 pike, and my son had a giant on, had to be 36, 38 incher.
Ooh.
Wow,
which is big for up there.
Oh, well, anywhere, 36, 38, because they're long and they.
It was on his fly rod.
Gee.
He ties up flies, and he uses those old antique fly rods. He's got the two-handed ones. He was using an 8-weight, and it was too light for this thing. I mean, it was. He said he threw the fly up next to a log and twitched it twice and let it sit, and it just came out. He just saw these gill plates
like a
open
submarine.
up.
Yeah. Cool.
But good fishing out there.
Good.
It just, if you go out, 2 things. Take water. Well, it'd be 3 things, actually. Take water. Put on sunscreen. Put it on your nose and the tops of your ears, because you're going to get sunburned. Put it on your hands and your arms and everything. The 3rd thing, your bug spray. Mosquitoes are bad. Ticks are bad everywhere. So you won't even notice a tick crawling on you sometimes.
No, until it's
they
too
just
late.
show up.
Till they're already
what
embedded.
is that bump?
Yeah.
Why does that itch so much?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got legs.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, good.
But yeah, so wear those repellents. Spray your clothes with the Picardin stuff, or put DEET on your skin. That's fine. Don't put the Picardin on your skin. That's for your clothing.
Okay.
Spray your boots real good. Permethrins, yeah.
Okay, time for a break. And on the other side, we've got some storytelling, and we got Dale online. He has a question, so we'll get to him. And good news, and we're in the home stretch. So we'll take a break and be back.
Is she really going out with him?
Well, there she is. Let's ask her.
Betty, is that Jimmy's ring you're wearing?
Mm-hmm.
Gee, it must be great riding with him. Is he picking you up after school today? By the way...
Do you enjoy a good story about hunting or fishing? Then you need to get your hands on Tales from the Trails, the real-life adventures of Castaway Coulis. Take a journey around the world with Joe as he recounts some of his best hunting and fishing trips, from Africa to Alaska, from behind the Iron Curtain to Australia. You can share in his memories through the book, complete with pictures to take you on the journey. It's a trip back in time looking through the eyes of an outdoors legend. Order your copy today on Amazon or at castaway.com. That's castaway with a K.com. Thanks for listening to the Inside the Great Outdoors podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or stories you'd like to share, shoot us an email at jcoulis@castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K. We'll share your comments with our audience on the following week's show. Thanks again for listening to Inside the Great Outdoors.
Welcome back.
You got a story to tell.
Yeah, I got a story. And I was thinking, I still kind of amazed. How can I remember things from so long ago and can't remember? Why am I going to this other room to pick up? Anyway, they did have it. They said they might, I don't know if it was a joke, where they could maybe wire your brain and then they could record your dreams and then play them back. That would be maybe good and bad. But anyway,
no.
I was thinking, no.
I don't want to go through my dreams again. They're too strange.
I'm so glad with some of them when you wake up and you realize it was a dream. Anyway, climbing mountains. If it wasn't for hunting, there's no way that I would want to just go through the grief and the pain of climbing. But the views that you get, the experience, and the feeling there's a feeling which cannot be explained of what it feels like when you're up so high you're looking down at everything, and the air is so clean and it's quiet. Unless there's some wind.
That's what it's like being tall, Joe. I
Yeah,
feel
right.
like that all the time.
Oh, okay. But it's hard climbing. It is hard work. But it's worth it. But the problem is you spend all this time, you're hunting sheep or goats. And so you do all this climbing, and then you get up there, and then, okay, we got to go down. But no, let's sit for a minute and take it in and absorb it. And one time we were hunting Dall sheep late in the fall, and we wake up and there's snow. You're thinking, how am I going to see a Dall sheep on the mountainside when there's snow everywhere? Oddly enough, you'd think that a Dall sheep is white. It's not. It's cream colored. So they literally do stand out. Snow is whiter than a Dall sheep, but when you see the mounted sheep, although, or even when you shoot one, you think it's white. It's really not when you compare it to snow. And you could see those, but when you wake up, I think the neatest thing is when you sleep on the side of a mountain, first of all, you're carrying everything. Your gun, your backpack, your sleeping bag, the tent, binoculars, all of this stuff.
Roll of toilet paper.
Yeah. Yeah, you do carry that too. That's important.
I hope so.
Oh, yeah. But when you wake up in the morning and the air is so cool and clear, and you look at the other mountain and the sun is starting to come up and it's sunny on that side, it's a really neat experience. And then I thought about, well, Carl, you with hands, everybody with hands and feet, how many fish have you handled with those hands?
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Isn't that something? Or you think about your feet, where you've walked, like I talked about climbing, walking on a glacier. A glacier is the hardest thing you could imagine. You think, oh, that's snow, it'll be nice. There is so much junk rocks and black, because it's what it's churning, because it literally at one time was moving. But to cross a glacier, you carry ropes, and usually there would be 3 of us. You tie everybody to each other, because if one guy falls in, you need to be able to save him. So what?
We did that when we were kids. I think I told the story before. But go ahead, finish your story.
Okay.
I don't want to interrupt you.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to interrupt.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't want to get yelled at.
Oh, okay.
I won't yell at you.
No, but he'll yell at me. No, but you think it's, and then you, like, Carl, with your ice fishing, you have those grabber. You'd
Like
call
the well, I call them creepers, but
that probably, yeah.
they
You
call
put
them
them on the
crampons.
Right, you
when
put
you're
them on the
mountain
bottom
climbing.
of your hunting boot,
Yeah.
and
They're like
but the
spikes.
thing is,
They're like spikes that'll
Yeah.
dig into the ice to give
but
you some traction.
you would think it'd be the other interesting thing on a glacier. When you go down where the water's coming out of the glacier, it's raining inside. So you go inside, it's like a cave where it starts to melt. It's literally raining all the time because it's slowly melting. But it creates such neat areas. So to experience those, if it wasn't for the hunting, there's no way you'd go there, or get to see the colors in the fall when the hillside is orange or bright yellow. And those experiences only because, it's hard. But as I think back, it's that feeling in the morning or any time of the day when you're in another world.
Yeah.
It's clear, it's quiet, pure, clear air. And then I'm thirsty. Oh, well, I'll take my little folding cup and I'll go to the little
stream.
Stream that's there's water everywhere. Just even little ones, like 6 inches, but it's clean, clear water because it's coming through rocks. And it's rainwater or ice that's melted.
Yeah.
So it's way better you get anywhere. And it's ice cold. And so you always have so there you're constantly stopping. Boy, I wish we had that here because you wouldn't get dehydrated because you're constantly, oh, there's this little stream. We have these cups. They fold into just a disc and they expand out and they can hold like 6 ounces of water. Or what you just do is kind of cool. You lay on your belly.
Yeah, and stick your face in it.
And you stick your face and you drink the little waterfall that'll be created by a little rock. And you get all the water you want.
Just like the baboons. When they're at the watering hole in Africa, you get down there and
that's really it.
And that turtle comes up and
in the nose. But so being able to have those memories, are like.
Well, that's with the hunting and fishing all over the world and everything. The hunting's great. The fishing's great, but there's so much that goes around it that makes
the experience
makes it complete. Yeah, the whole thing.
Yes. The hunting and the killing is such a small part of it, but it's all the other. Like in Africa, living in a tree by myself, in a like a.
Well, you do that now.
Yeah, say a 6x6 blind they had, and you got to climb up the tree, and so. But what is really cool with that, and a completely different thing, is you hear all these animals that are underneath the tree, like Cape buffalo and maybe elephants and, maybe a purr of a lion or something. And you're up in this, and it's like it's another world. But to be so fortunate to do all that stuff back then, now you couldn't even think about it, just even physically. To do all that climbing, and you're carrying, I never weighed it. I'd probably say maybe a 30-pound backpack, and a 10-pound gun, or a bow, which is really hard to carry because you can't put it anywhere. So to go to, but you're younger, and then you shoot an animal, you got to bring it out. So you got to put that on your back. And what is really tough, the toughest thing, you do it and you got to go back and do it again and go through that. And it wasn't, it's like maybe a 2-hour one way. So that was the hard part, but you got to do it. You have no choice. So anyways, that's my story, but trying to get those memories and the experience of what it felt like, which is, it's hard to explain it, but hopefully people got a little flavor of what it was. So anyways, Dale has a question, so we'll get to him. Good morning, Dale.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Hi, Dale.
We're paying careful attention to your comments about what kind of male or female fish to try to keep.
Yeah.
And a question came up from my wife. She says, so how do you tell the difference? Well, I provided her with a very quick answer. She responded, well, you made that up pretty quickly. Has the bluegills, I thought, has to do with coloration in particular? Or
yes.
Okay.
The female bluegills are yellow on the belly, and the males are more orange. They have an orange.
And the females are more plainer.
Yes.
In colors. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The males are more brightly colored. The
what
females
about bass?
can be.
Is it usually the size?
Bass females are usually bigger than the males.
Yeah.
Usually.
But
Same
okay,
with
but if you get
crappies.
you can get a big male. So how do you know with bats? It's probably harder.
Yeah.
Okay.
The females are usually much fatter because they're full of eggs. The males.
Yeah, but what if they're not full of eggs?
Yeah, what if it's after that?
If it's post-spawn, it's hard to tell with bass.
So just let them all go.
And you could let them all go.
Yeah, but the bluegills, what about crappie?
Crappies are very difficult to tell apart. The females have a better fashion sense than the males.
They dress better?
Yeah.
Oh.
About the only way to tell with crappies, if they're spawning, the females will have a big round belly, but males can have a big round belly too because they're feeding.
Sure.
And that's
just like humans,
just like me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not spawning. I'm not spawning.
Oh, thank goodness.
I'm not due in 9 months.
Jeez.
I'm just they said give for the 6-pack abs, and I said I got a keg. So anyway, yeah.
So it's really
a lot of fish. It's coloration. Like with the red ear sunfish, the females are lighter colored and more yellow on the belly. Same with bluegills.
So it's mainly with the bluegill family that you could tell.
Perch are hard to tell. The big fat ones are the females. The skinnier ones are the males. About the only way to tell with a crappie is to harvest one and clean it, and you'll see the eggs in the female, and the male won't have eggs. And then you got 4 fillets that you can fry up and make tacos.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I know there are a lot of answers about the males and the females. Oh, and you can also tell the males if you catch a male bluegill.
Yeah.
And you go to take it off the hook, it'll pee on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It usually does that.
They'll pee on you. So that's an old Bill Dance show. He had one. What was it called? The pee. They pee on you. Something I don't know.
I think he peed in his mouth. Didn't he?
Yeah. Yellow perch will do that when they spawn, but it's not pee, and it's sort of gross.
Milt.
So, yeah, it'll get all over the place.
Okay. All right.
So.
Hope that helps.
Well, it sure does. I mean, it's not too dissimilar to a lot of the different bird species.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely with the birds. Okay. Thanks, Dale.
Thank you.
See ya.
Great day, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, the birds. You were talking about watching when you're eating the food, now with the heat.
Yeah.
My buddy told me about a friend of his that went to drink beer and swallowed a yellow jacket or a hornet.
Oh, man. That's terrible.
And it bit him on his tongue.
Oh.
Could a yellow jacket, what if you swallowed it?
You'd be
Would
in
it
trouble.
be biting inside you?
Until it died,
They can bite repeated. Well, they can sting repeatedly.
Yeah. So wouldn't you have to go to the hospital?
Well, it gets so far then it dies.
It does.
It gets in the stomach acid. But I actually saw a guy die from a yellow jacket sting when I worked at the Cleveland Zoo.
Really?
This was probably in the late 60s. He was a construction worker. And he was getting a drink or some soda or something from one of the ticket stands.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of yellow jackets around where the trash was. And this thing flew in his mouth and it bit him in the mouth. And I think he was allergic to it.
Oh. And it swelled up.
And it swelled up in his mouth. And the firemen were there pronto. And Deaconess Hospital was right at the top of the hill. And, they got him there really quick. And I asked later, how did that guy do? And he says he died. It was an anaphylactic shock.
Yeah.
And even though they got him there quick, he actually...
The yellow
Some
jackets,
folks with bee stings, it's instant. If they don't get an EpiPen in them,
they're gone.
That's
way more people die of wasp stings and bee stings in the United States than all the snake bites, spider bites, and scorpion stings put together.
Whenever I'd be cleaning fish, especially in New York, yellow jackets are all around. They never would bother me,
If you don't bother them, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to bother you.
Because you're not near the nest.
Well, you're not near the nest unless you kill one. Hit it with.
But I've done that, and they're okay.
They usually don't bother you.
No, but they are attracted when you're cleaning fish. I don't swat at them. Just it's fine. So, but we got to take a break because we got good news. Keo on the other side, patiently waiting. So we will take a break and be back.
All the world over, so easy to see. People everywhere just wanna be free. Listen, please, listen. That's the way it should be. Peace and love.
Are you ready to catch the big one? Introducing Kodiak Fish Attractant Catfish Bombs, your ultimate secret weapon for a successful fishing trip. Designed with fishermen in mind, Kodiak Catfish Bombs release an irresistible scent that draws catfish in from miles away. Just toss it in, wait a bit, and watch the action unfold. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, these bombs are hot stuff. Perfect for the weekend angler or those late-night catfish excursions. Watch your catch rate explode with Kodiak Fish Attractant Catfish Bombs. Available online at castaway.com. That's castaway with a K.com. Thanks for listening to the Inside the Great Outdoors podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or stories you'd like to share, shoot us an email at jcoulis@castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K. We'll share your comments with our audience on the following week's show. Thanks again for listening to Inside the Great Outdoors.
Welcome back. Time for some good news with Good News KO.
Yes, sir. I have a couple of items here this week that I found interesting, and I did put links to them. But before we get there, yellow jackets are nothing to mess with. Last summer ran over a hide that was in the ground with a lawnmower.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to beat feet out of there. I would have liked to have video of that because I was hopping up and down as I was running and swatting and stuff.
Yeah.
I got in the house, and fortunately, I didn't get stung, but it did go out later. Yeah, here's the tip. Don't try and handle that during the daytime.
Right. Wait till it's dark.
They're diurnal, so yeah, and if you can mark where the holes are, a whole can of that hornet spray right down the hole and cover it up with a rock or a brick, and you're done.
Yep.
Or call a professional.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a YouTube guy. Goes by the label of the Hornet King, and he's from southeastern Pennsylvania, and that's all he does for a living. He travels all around that area into New Jersey and New York and Pennsylvania, and he just removes hornet nests. And there's like three main varieties. There's the eastern, the southern, and the German yellow jacket. And the German is not as aggressive as the two native species that are real common around here.
Yeah, because I've run into some that are not bad at all in the ground.
Right.
They'll hover around it, but they don't go after you. I've
seen
those
don't
on
hit
my
it with a
property.
lawnmower.
Right.
Yeah. Well, by the way, a couple of things. I put links on the Bookface page, group page there. They're talking about reintroducing Cisco's to Lake Erie.
Really?
There is a Cisco's I did not realize are in the trout family. I mean, they don't look like trout.
No.
They're basically whitefish.
Huh.
They eat plankton and small organisms like mayfly larvae.
So as a
things
food
like that.
supply?
Well, here's the thing. They were extirpated from Lake Erie about 65 years ago. And up until that time, they were one of the main commercial fisheries of Lake Erie.
Really?
They're food fish.
Food
really.
fish.
Yeah. And they were important food fish for lake trout. And they were, but they were overfished, and also the pollution did them in. Because, by the mid-20th century, Lake Erie was like a cesspool. And certainly the 1960s, it didn't improve until much later. But believe it or not, there is a lake south of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, in the mountains called Crystal Lake, where they had stocked lake trout and shallow water Cisco's from Lake Erie. And it's a spring-fed lake. It's cold. And they a couple federal agencies, U.S. Fish and Wildlife and University of New York and University of Pennsylvania and Pennsylvania Fish and Game, they've already begun raising them in the hatchery to release them into Lake Erie to reintroduce the shallow water Cisco.
Interesting.
They thought it's a lot different from the Great Lakes Cisco. It's more of a slab-sided fish. It's about 18 inches, but it's a hefty little fish.
18 inches? Oh, they're big.
And I do love smoked whitefish. I don't know if you guys...
They're delicious.
Whitefish.
Oh, you're talking about 18-inch whitefish.
No, Cisco's.
Yeah. Wow.
Cisco's are,
Good. I didn't know
So
that.
anyway, you look forward to that.
Okay.
Also, on June 3rd, a female black bear was caught in Ashtabula County. Yeah, they estimated her to be between 5 and 10 years old. Weighed just a little shy of 200 pounds. They put a radio collar on her.
Right, it'll last 18 months.
So she can listen to tunes now.
Yeah.
But, that it's unusual for a female to be found in this area. Usually, the
young males, right.
She might be
see
listening
there
to us.
Yeah, she will.
Yeah. So,
she keeps smelling
usually there's young
she
males
smells
that
the
get
burnt
kicked out.
food at Joe's
I knew
house.
that was coming. Did you get it?
No.
So, I talk to my son Nate frequently, usually every day. We shoot the breeze for a little bit, and he lives in Bristol, Connecticut.
Yeah.
And he has a black bear that regularly shows up and tips his garbage can over.
Really?
And they have quite the black bear population in Connecticut. I'm trying.
Yeah. Huh. Cool.
But so anyway, there's that.
Okay.
Well, I had to mention real quick. I was preparing dinner last night. Was going to have I made a ragu out of tomato sauce and sweet Italian sausage. Going to make it with spaghetti, and I was boiling the pasta water when we lost power.
Oh.
Yeah. And I thought, oh boy. So when life hands you lemonade or lemons, don't make lemonade. Go to the freezer and get out a quart of ice cream.
There you go. Hey, got it.
Okay.
Got to get it.
I was about 2 spoonfuls in when the power came back on. I was a little disappointed. So I finished, and then after dinner, went and polished off some more ice cream. So that was good. So, a day like today, life hands you lemons, eat some ice cream.
Eat some ice
there
cream.
you go.
Absolutely.
I have a little bit of wisdom to share with you.
Oh, we need
about
wisdom.
Summertime. And I defy you to not hum this tune in your head when you hear the quote. It's from George Gershwin. Summertime and the living is easy.
Ah, very good. Okay.
Absolutely.
And
okay. Well, we'll talk to you next
don't
week.
Don't complain about the heat. Get out and enjoy some of it. Get out early, in the day and do stuff. Yeah.
You got it.
In the evening, yeah.
All righty. Talk to you soon, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Have a great week.
Good.
Awesome.
Good. You got some good news you wanted
I
to
got
get.
good news.
Yeah.
The Division of Ohio Department of Natural Resources / Watercraft and Parks Department has put a second life jacket loaner station at Portage Lake State Park.
Good.
That's a program the state does. They went out and purchased over 1,800 life jackets and built these little stations at boat ramps and parks all over the state. So if you need a life jacket, you can borrow one.
Wow.
And wear it. Don't forget to wear it.
Yeah.
And when you're done, put it back for somebody else to use.
Good.
That's good.
Okay.
The state is that's a really good program, and no excuse to go on the water without life jackets.
And you had a second good news?
The second good news, tomorrow morning I'm at the Akron Burn Camp for Kids doing my fishing thing, 10 o'clock. And I just want to thank everybody that donated fishing rods and tackle and everything else so we can take these kids fishing and show them some fun and hopefully catch fish. They'll all be dinks, but...
That's okay. As long to a youngster, size doesn't matter,
That's
just
right.
like you. The size of the fish don't matter.
I'm sure my wife is chuckling right now. Anyway.
Oh, you guys. You always got to look at the other side of it.
That's right. My big hands, Joe.
Yeah, right. And a big nose, too.
Humans are the only creatures that blush or need to.
Exactly. Okay, get out and make some memories. The memories you make today could be the most lasting, most important ones. Make some random act of kindness. Make somebody smile, whether it be saying hello or compliment them in the store or make a phone call to somebody you haven't talked to in a while. My buddy Andy at church, I got to visit with him yesterday. He's doing good, so hang in there, Andy. And make a call to somebody that you haven't talked to, they're going to benefit because they'll get a smile and catch up on how things are. So if you get to do that, because we got to remember, a day without a smile is a day wasted. And the older we get, the less time we got to be wasting days. So we ain't got time. Just be careful this week with all the heat. Just be careful. Be careful. And as my mother always told me, Joey, don't you ever take any wooden nickels.
You've been listening to Inside the Great Outdoors with Joe Coolis, Joe Keogh, and Dr. Norm. Join us every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on AM 1420 The Answer. Download the podcast of today's show and previous broadcasts at igoradio.com. Follow the show on Facebook and get interactive with the cast and crew. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week, 7 a.m., right here on AM 1420 The Answer.